recording now. Welcome to this Captain's Edition on the 14th of January 2025. We are up here in
the Sky Bridge.
Sky Bridge. I even forget what it's called. Look, it's like, well, no, it would be open.
Okay.
That's why this is a sky bridge. It's glass all the way around. It's enclosed and it's AC'd. If you think about it, we can even put it in sporting terms. You know, I'm not a sports guy. Yeah. This is a skybox. If you had a skybox, everyone else is sitting outside in the rain, sweating, freezing, something. Yes. That's why they call this a sky lounge. Yes. It's AC'd, it's glassed. It's not only glassed, it's glassed with solar glass.
Yeah.
I mean, look, my friends have always said, Willie, you are just like the luckiest guy. And I don't think I'm the luckiest guy. Okay? I luck into things by following just what the Lord, my higher power, I don't know, my gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, I call it God. When I follow that direction, when I don't know why I'm following it, okay? And I made an offer on this boat, and then I thought, and it was accepted. And I knew that they were having a hard time selling it. And so I took the opportunity and I kept looking at boats because I didn't know what I was looking at. Look, I didn't even go to look at this boat. I went to look at a full-blown ocean-going mini yacht because it's 80 foot. And I looked at a couple 80-footers, three, two burgers, and then that one up there. And luckily, they were all motor yachts. Now, you're going to be surprised by why it was lucky, and I will tell you at the end. And that yacht, he had an offer of more than I wanted to pay, because, well, I'm cheap. I mean, I'm not cheap. I've got a budget. Like, everyone in life has a budget. It's just everybody's budgets are different. But I'm still constrained by a budget, okay? And I have to find something that fits into my budget. I made another offer on a boat that I didn't know I was going to see in Alabama. And I happenstance along that boat. And that boat, boy, if I had more money, that would be my choice. But I made the offer to the doctor at the same price I had on this boat, which was my budget. And I am 100% certain he lost his shit. I don't blame him. He had total right to lose his shit. The offer was what I could afford.
But he didn't want to let go of the boat to begin with, and that makes it more difficult.
He did not, and his wife wanted him to for health reasons. And I could see her being like, I don't want to deal with this, because you've driven the boat the whole time. I see that. He's a doctor. I just, for some reason, you know, I don't know that he made her learn. And I'm making you learn. Yes. Like, it takes two people to get the anchor up. One at the helm, and one out there on the front. And I know that physically, well, an anchor job's a bitch. I can barely do it, and I've messed it up.
We had to do it together the very first day, and I didn't.
It is so complicated that I've messed it up 4 times. And the first time, I thought for sure that we were literally, I thought, well, I'm going to have to take the winch apart, number one. That was number one. I was like, the winch is going to have to come apart, because I rolled the chain into the deck. And I didn't realize we do have a chain that goes either direction. You just have to wrap it differently, which is something I've learned. If you wrap it the wrong way on the drum, well, it goes in the opposite direction because it's wrapped differently.
You'll have to show me.
I had no clue. Absolutely no clue.
I thought I will.
So theoretically, if we ever caught anything too big, we could tail rope it out the back, and just because the line's not going to bother the boat, it's aluminum, not fiberglass. we can run a line all the way to the front, wrap it, and hit the foot pedal.
Yeah,
and we can just winch it right into the boat. I kept trying to come up with something for this back deck to lift fish into the boat. We ain't even got to do that. That's how perfect this boat is. And I never knew all of this, well, till we've spent the best 3-week vacation from work ever. And we're now at week 8, 7. We've surpassed 2 months.
2 months and a week today.
2 months and a week. And I would say, though, we've made it 3/4 of the way of where we were going. We were going to Florida. We're at the South Carolina-Georgia border in, what's this called?
Beaufort.
Beaufort. But probably everybody knows Paris.
Paris Island.
Paris Island.
It's
but
right
what
there.
type of military is it?
Marines.
It's
Yeah, the Marines. They train the Marines right there.
It's the Marines.
We accidentally rode by there yesterday, so you can watch the video about that.
Yes, you'll see the video, Paris Island. We rolled by it and then realized we should not have gone this far. So life is full of mistakes, and that's how I liken to me getting this far. Is really a lot of mistakes, which truthfully is, I think, God just continuing to teach you.
Grow you, yeah.
And I think that's why I never really put much stock into college and getting a career. I think I just knew life was going to be a career. I worked retail in high school at a small mom and pop pet store, and back then you figured it out yourself. I mean, you just did. Unless you have big money to pay people to actually work, you figured it out yourself, and that's the cloth I'm cut out of. You know, my dad once asked me, how'd you learn to work on cars? And I was like, well, the car broke down. That's step 1. Step 2 is you really can't afford a mechanic. So I learned, I literally bought a book, and Chilton's back then were just the bomb. I don't think you can even get them anymore. And that was, Chilton was a mechanic. That's why the books were so good. He was a mechanic that took the time to literally write the books. Nowadays, you would end up with 2 people. And back then, it may have been his wife. He may have talked to her, and but he had pictures. He did a great job.
You guys can look it up.
Oh,
he digresses here.
It's not really. Well, it is about Chilton's. These are heroes,
Visionaries,
and visionaries that took the time. And really, I'm going to take the time for you right now. If you're thinking about buying a boat and traveling around the world, or buying a boat and even, let's say, just living on it in a marina, well, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have to be one of those people that likes to continue to learn. Because you're going to have to YouTube something, you're going to have to call a friend, you're going to have to do something, unless you've got a lot of money, because there's not a lot of marine mechanics, electricians that are good. And after finally being able to afford a true professional, you need to do it that good. You really do. So you've either got to do some studying so it's done right and it's done safe and your home's not going to sink. And there's going to be maintenance. Like, you're going to have to pull your boat so it needs to run. That's a key. Your boat, to be a boat, needs to run, because about every 2 to 5 years, like, let's say you're really on a tight income, well, every 5 years that boat needs to go on the hard. And you need to assess the bottom, because that's what's going to sink the boat. Anything in the water is generally what's going to cause it to sink. You need to be able to fix bilge pumps on your own. You're going to need to be able to, fixed. See, I'm just moving the boat, okay? So understand that. And I'm paying professionals, and I'm learning along the way. So the first step was Well, we had a fuel issue. Now, I probably could have YouTubed it and cleaned the rate cores, but I wasn't sure where the problem was. So the first mechanic I paid to come out, well, they cleaned the rate cores. And look, the way the guy put it to me is, we'll come out, we'll assess what's wrong, and we'll fix it as we go. So he came out and cleaned the rate cores, and the generators fired up. So problem solved. Then I cleaned the engine rate cores on my own.
The next day.
And I also took out I think it's called a Algae X.
Magnet thing.
It's a magnet thing. And then look, the mechanic said, you notice it's just a choke point. It's just where it's driving the fuel down into a tighter spot. And I could see that because where all the algae was stuck. It was actually stuck in the algae X's, which now makes me think I should put them back in line, because that means that's algae that was getting past the rate core. No, it wasn't. It was not. So they need to be installed if you're going to install them after the rate core. That's what it was. And in order to install them after the rate core, well, they have to be reconfigured. So he's like, you probably don't want to pay me $200 an hour to spend half a day to put those on the other side. If we just take them off, we can get back to where you're running. And that's what we did. And it worked out great, and it got us all the way here. We've had 0 fuel issues. I've changed the rate core one time, and I'm going to change them again here because I think it's time. We're starting to see the red line things go up. Those are your gauges. I'm not going to get all technical here. It's a red line, and it moves, and it's a tattletale, tells you as high as the highest pressure during running, which would have been when we went to 2200 RPMs, because I showered down on that throttle. Well, that means now it's drawing a lot of fuel, and that's where you're going to see your highest pressures. So when I go down now, because I reset them, the tattletales will tell me exactly how high we went when I go back down in that engine room and check at my own convenience. I love this system. At my own convenience, because we're going to be here, well, the boat's going to be here for 2 months. Now, in a perfect world, this is how this would have worked. We would have come down here in Savannah, we would have dropped the boat off in a yard, we would have done a walkthrough, we'd had an appointment, okay, we'd have called before we left, or, somewhere along the way to the yard, and they'd have met us there, they'd have come on the boat with their crew. They'd have walked through the boat. We'd assessed everything we want fixed, replaced, done. And then we would have gone back to Alabama to do our stuff and then just wrote a check. But it'd been a check I can't afford. That is a perfect world.
It's Willy world.
That is the world of a yacht owner, like we just saw, where they have a 80-foot toy hauler that comes and arrives before the 300-foot yacht. So that is the true world of yachting.
It's a boat trailer
for the ultra rich. But I'm not ultra rich, so my boating world is when we get back here, we're going to have a list of stuff to do, and I'm going to try to collect all that stuff off Facebook Marketplace to save money. And we'll have a dream list, which would be like a bow thruster. I talked to a guy this morning, and then he chat GPT'd the bow thruster, and it for an actual 60-foot Ray Hunt built by Gladden and Hearn, and it kicked out a damn response. It was spot on. This bow thruster is normally used for very smaller runabouts. So probably 25-foot center consoles, because you're not really going to get a bow thruster into anything smaller. So, something 25 to maybe probably around 25, according to what this thing said. It said also these boats normally have a 24 amp system, or 24 volt versus a 12 volt. It has a 12 volt bow thruster. That's one of the other reasons it wasn't good. And then a boat this size normally takes like a large thruster, and this one is for a baby boat. And I was like, well, yeah, that's probably not going to work well. So, but a bow thruster in this thing it's a Christmas gift. It's a Hail Mary. I don't have to have it. I do know, look, they had me come down the slip, and then parallel park as far in as I could go.
They had
no, they didn't.
Back in.
They had me back in.
Back in.
That's right. So I backed in
This side.
and then parallel park, and then we realized there was no shore power, so then I had to get back out around the boats and then back in. But I really didn't back in too much. I really just went cut into the dock.
Right in.
Yeah. Because I got like 80 foot here, so that's good. Back there I didn't. Back there's a jet ski dock behind me that I was terrified I was just going to either drift into or back into, because I kept getting near all the rocks on that side, which I knew by the bank I could see the top of the rocks. And rocks don't go like this.
Like a wall.
They go like this, and then every so often some roll off. And I'm deep draft, so doing that was terrifying, because all you got to do is hit that prop on a big chunk of rock, and this boat's got to come out. You're not going to hit a rock with the prop and not have to fix it.
I'm thankful for David and Walter.
Yes, David and Walter both here were helping us, and moving was really not difficult. It was traumatic because I started the motors, and then I didn't realize I didn't have a steering wheel. And I will tell you, since this thing is so long in parallel parking, the steering wheel really helps. I was doing just the motors first, but the problem with the motors is you're going to do this, which is okay, but then you're coming, if the current's pushing you, you then have to keep trying to straighten the front of the boat, otherwise you're going to be sideways. And there was at one point there I thought, this is going to get real bad and we're going to be in here sideways. And once you're sideways, well, without thrusters, you've got some major issues. And there's nothing.
Well, he told us we came around bow first, and he stopped us right here at the end and was like, you might want to back in because you're not going to be able to turn around back there.
That's exactly what he said.
So.
Now, I don't know why it makes a difference, because I don't know why I would have wanted to turn around.
Get out.
I would have backed
backed
out.
all the way out.
I would have backed out. Yeah, because the front drags, so it's much easier. Like, I think the backing is going to be much easier if we don't have to parallel park. Does that make sense? See, if I had gone in front, I would have done exactly what I did. I would have pulled in, you would have tossed in the bow line, and then I would have put the motor in reverse, and the bow would have pulled the transom over in reverse. Does that make sense?
Yes, but it's totally opposite of the way we had planned it, so.
It was when we, yes, it was. It was.
So it all worked out fine.
It was. That's why we ended up no fenders.
They were all on the wrong side.
Yes, because I said still on the port, and he said yes. And so then we started to nose in, and then he said, well, just switch sides. Now, what we should do from now on is just take your time, okay? I will back out there, and I'll do circles if I have to.
Okay.
And we just need to understand, well, this may take another 30 minutes. Don't bust your ass. Don't freak out. We need to move all the fenders, but we can do it very slowly.
Okay.
At our own snail pace, because we feel like we need to get it
I
done,
do.
and we need to get up against the dock because they're waiting to help.
Yeah.
But we need to not feel like that. We need to feel like, well, okay, we'll just take our time, we'll go in a circle, we'll do what we have to do out here, we'll get everything switched over.
Well, we thought we were really good when we planned it an hour and a half.
I don't freak out about putting the boat up against the dock. The whole thing's built out of like super thick aluminum. And eventually I'm stripping all the paint off, so I'm not trying to protect the paint. However, this thing also has wings that stick out. They're like little lips that they mounted all the A-frame stuff to. So I've got sacrificial side runners at the top and the bottom. So I really have never worried about a dock, you know, maybe damaging the dock, but they've got fenders on the dock and they got rub rail.
Well, we're at the front. I like it.
And we're not fiberglass. And most of that is fiberglass except for the shrimp boat, which is wood and fiberglass over. So, like the Hatters behind us, I think that's all solid fiberglass. And the Hatters over here, I think, is all fiberglass. And the one at the end. And then the sailboats, I don't really know. I don't know sailboats, so I couldn't tell you. This one here, we know is steel.
And it's sinking.
It's sinking, and it's actually in really good shape for a steel boat. You know, look, buying a steel boat means you're going to be just chasing rust your rest of your life. That's it. 100%, but they are built to be tough, but maintenance-wise, I guess it would be like having a wood boat of old, because they required a lot of maintenance when you had a planked boat and no fiberglass. Fiberglass was the fix for boats altogether, except the only step up, in my opinion, is aluminum. And I don't mean flimsy, thin aluminum. That was one of the other issues with the Burger yachts. It was a very lightly built boat. Both of them had dents in the side. The difference in this boat is the plating. So it's thick. It's really thick. The Burgers, I am certain, were at least half this thickness. More just like a plate, like not plating, but what they would call covering. Does that make sense? Coverings are thinner. So more like a center console aluminum boat. Much thinner plating.
Gotcha.
This is built to U.S. ship standards. And then because it's a research vessel, I wonder if it's not even a thicker plating. I don't really know. I just know it's really thick. Really thick.
Somebody said something about the thickness of it yesterday or the day before.
I'm wondering if these window frames,
Yeah.
I know this inside is aluminum, but I'm wondering what the superstructure is built out of now, because the frames where they come together, they may have put a plate in there. It looks like steel. It looks like steel rust. I don't know. I could be very crazy. I'm just quick glance while I was washing it, but it would sure look red. Like it had red and black in it, which is a giveaway for steel. So we'll see. As we go on, there's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to learn about this boat, but the one thing I have learned in this voyage is this boat is ocean crossing capable and worthy.
We learned that in the first 24 hours.
It is built like a Coast Guard ship. So, and it carries enough fuel at 1,800 gallons that if you run it like a trawler and then just blow the diesels out at least once every 24 hours, you get phenomenal fuel efficiency, except when you're blowing the motors out. So it's definitely was the boat that I should have gone with if I had known more about what I was doing. I hope that makes sense to you. Sometimes you just follow your gut and you just hope you don't get in deeper than you should. And a lot of the projects, including the first project, which was Jacques Cousteau's first turbo sailboat, I want you to know it was Pepper's first time on a boat, right? Like staying overnight, not
Besides
camping
a
on
cruise
an
ship.
island.
Yes, not getting off.
Okay,
Yes.
so I want you now to give them captain's talk for tomorrow, which is her thoughts, like staying on a Cousteau boat, and then all about the journey to this point. Okay, guys? See you tomorrow. Bye.